Okay, I'm so excited today because Patty has come to us and she's donating a beautiful piece. We're going to appraise it. We're going to produce a certified report that she needs for the tax deduction. But the great thing is it's a piece, but more importantly, it's got a really neat story behind it. Patty, I know you sent me some information about it, and I was going to digest it and throw it back out, but I wouldn't do it justice. I was wondering if you could go ahead and take over and give us that interesting background.
Okay. Well, this piece is my father when he was about 6 weeks old. It was made by Alban Polaszek, and it was actually documented in a book that his first wife wrote, Ruth Sherwood. And what she wrote was that Frank Fairbanks, that would be my grandfather, summoned Polaszek to their Larchmont home to see a new member of his family. It was a tiny but very chubby morsel who was forthwith named David. David exhibited charms that lent themselves to sculpture, and before he'd reached the age of 6 weeks, Alban had produced a head of him rising from decorative little cherub wings. Later, Mr. and Mr. Fairbanks, my grandparents, brought the baby to the studio where Polaszek used him as a model for his fountain figure, Butterfly. Somehow, David, so newly flown from heaven, always suggested wings, and in this delightful little figure, he appears with wings of a butterfly.
Oh, that is too neat. So let me get down. This is your father.
Yes.
This is your father. And your grandfather and Polaszek were good buddies, right?
Yes, they were. They were students together in about 1910 at the American Academy of Art in Rome, and their friendship progressed over the years. Mrs. Sherwood had documented other places where Mr. Polaszek was in the Fairbanks home sometimes 2 or 3 times a week, and he'd watched my father grow up over the years. So the friendship also went on after Mr. Polaszek died.
And you've got some
yes,
stuff here, right? What's that?
Mr. Polaszek's Christmas card was sent to my father in about 1962 or 63. And then in later years, Mr. Polaszek had remarried, and his wife had also written a book, and in 1984 gave this book to my father. So it was a friendship over probably 80 plus years. Mm-hmm. I thought it was a very touching story. Not only is it's a beautiful piece of sculpture, but you know, a man giving another friend a wonderful baby gift, and I think it honored their friendship.
Absolutely. I know the museum is so excited to receive it too, aren't they? Yeah.
Yes, yes.
A little background information on Polaszek. He was born around the 1880s, immigrated to the United States around 1900, became a U.S. citizen around 1909, and did his formal training, I understand, at the Pennsylvania Academy of Fine Art, but ultimately he wound up in Chicago, yes, right? And was known as a Chicago artist because of all the beautiful monumental pieces that he created that were around the city. And so just a wonderful piece. I know later he moved down to Florida, and that's where the museum is, right?
Yes, he moved there in the 1970s.
Right,
yes.
Yeah. I know that that he is known, his style is known as like a movement sculptor. And what that does is that brings his pieces to life, and so therefore he's known as a living sculptor. It's a beautiful, just a beautiful artistic piece. Now I know, you know, our folks always like to know where values come out, and you're probably interested in know,
yes, of
right?
course.
Absolutely. Well, his pieces have auctioned in a range from anywhere from about $5,000 to as much as about $40,000. And this piece, because of its size, is going to fall in the range of about $12,000 to $15,000.
Wonderful.
Yeah, so beautiful piece, and what a neat story. And I'm so happy that you shared it with us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.